Hello again and welcome back to Operations Management. In this lecture, we are going to be talking about inventory. We're going to start with just a brief introduction as to what is inventory and the kinds of inventory, as well as the costs associated with inventory. Beginning with the types of inventory, we know that there are different kinds of inventory out there. The first is input inventory. When you're thinking about a process and you're looking at the items that are going into the process, that's your input inventory. If it's sitting and waiting at the beginning of a process, that's your input inventory. When it's in the process and it's in the midst of activities or between activities inside the process, that's our in-process inventory, most commonly known as work in process or work in progress. And our output inventory are items that have been completed but have not left the barrier of the process, meaning we haven't shipped it out of the process to the next process. So these are the three kinds of inventory that we have, and when we add them together, that's the total inventory for a process. We know from Little's Law that our average inventory equals our average throughput rate times our average flow time. We also know that there is a certain amount of inventory that is needed for any particular process. But why do we use inventory? Well, processes can have fluctuations. So by having buffers, inventory is a buffer, it allows one process to be slightly separate from another. So if one process is running quickly and there's inventory, it can continue running. If there's another process that's running slowly, we can allow inventory to build up. So what happens is that we have buffers that separate each of these processes from each other, as well as from the external environment. When we actually think about inventory, we think about using it for four major reasons. One is economies of scale. By using inventory to allow us to build up production or increase capacity, we can spread fixed costs over a large production quantity. If you think about when you're buying a screen printed shirt, no matter how many of an item you buy, there is a cost to have the screen printing done, to actually design the print. Whether you buy one t-shirt, 5 t-shirts, 100 t-shirts, there is one fixed cost. So if we're able to spread that fixed cost over 100 t-shirts, the individual cost per t-shirt goes down. That's what we mean by spreading fixed costs over the large production quantity. For production and capacity smoothing, we know that demand fluctuates. It is never, ever absolutely constant. But we don't want to keep hiring or laying off people. We don't want to have to keep running second shifts, first shifts for production. It's not very efficient to do that. And so what we do is we use inventory to smooth that out. We allow inventory to increase and decrease when demand fluctuates. For example, when we consider the whole holiday season in December, there are some products that don't have a lot of demand throughout the year, but have a very large demand in November and December. One way of handling that is to have a smooth production all throughout the year, allowing inventory to build up so that we can meet that demand in November and December. The third way we use inventory is to prevent shortages. That's what's known as stockout protection. We use safety stock. This is extra inventory to prevent us from running out so that we can't disappoint our customers and so we don't have to stop a process. And the last way we look at inventory is for price speculation. If we think that the price of a product that we use is going to go up, we may buy more of it now to prevent a cost later on. But all of these good things about using inventory comes with a cost. There are actual costs of holding inventory. There are the physical holding costs. Once we actually have items in our process, we have to store it somewhere. We have warehouses, we have to keep track of it. Sometimes we might need climate control. All of these are physical holding costs, the cost of storing the inventory. Another kind of cost associated with inventory is opportunity costs. It's the cost of lost investment. The money that we have tied up in inventory can't be used for anything else. You can't use this to fund another project or even to put it in a bank, gaining interest. So even though we had reasons to use inventory, we also have to balance it with the costs of inventory. So that's an introduction to inventory. In our next session, we're going to talk about the total cost equation. So we can go on and try and figure out how much of any particular item to order at a time. I'll see you then.